Hey guys, Whitney here. Welcome to the Passive Investing Made Simple show. This is a show that we do live every Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, where we go deep dive into topics around passive real estate to help you go into your first or next deal with confidence. And so if you haven't already, be sure to go to passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com and register for future masterclasses. You can also get my free ebook there, Passive Investing Made Simple, as well as a checklist. And if you'd like to, understand a little bit more about passive investing and see our open deals, you can do so there as well and schedule time with me, all in one place, passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. Now, today we've got a solo show. Today we are going to talk about how to build your passive investing team. And we all know that we need to have, be partnered with amazing operators. So we'll touch just a teeny tiny bit on that. But this is about your ancillary team. Outside the operator, who do you need? What experts do you need on this team? Now, if this is the first time we're meeting before, welcome. Today we're going to learn the importance of building a team as a passive investor, those must-have team members, and then we're going to do some high-level vetting, okay? Not super, detailed vetting, but some high-level concepts that you need to have in mind when you are researching and interviewing these team members. Now, if we haven't met before, again, my name is Whitney Elkins-Hutton. I'm the Director of Investor Education here at passiveinvesting.com. And this is the whole reason why I invest in real estate, and more importantly, passive real estate, truly passive real estate. Now, I got into real estate in 2002, living, flipping, and house hacking. And then eventually, after about 10, 12 years later, started scaling up a rental real estate portfolio, buy and hold units. Got scaled up about 30 units there. Did quite well for myself, but I can tell you the one thing, none of that was passive. It took an immense amount of my time, energy, and effort, and more importantly, attention. And even though that, once I got away from fix and flipping and got into buy and hold investing, I know the IRS kind of calls it passive income, but it might be passive on paper. But when it comes to your time, you're still doing a ton of management. Now, I still have controlled real estate, okay? I do have some investments that I do hold on to myself. I do manage them myself, but the lion's share of my portfolio is actually passive, learning how to invest in other operators, other experts, deals in order for me to, get a split of the deal, but more importantly, get my time back, my attention back. Now, we talk at length on how to vet operators, how to vet markets, how to vet deals. If you haven't joined one of my boot camps already, we dive into those details, putting the skills into practice, helping you to create all the tools that you need in order to execute on your business plan. We actually have a boot camp coming up tomorrow, learning about how to read a private placement memorandum. Yes, we are going to tackle that large packet legal documents that you have to be able to read and sign before you go into a deal. But I do this because I want people to understand that when you make that transition from holding your own real estate, maybe you have single family rentals, maybe you just have one or two rentals, as you scaled up, you bought houses and then put a renter in it and just kept moving, moving the mark down the line. Or maybe you wanted to get into rentals. I just want people to really fully understand what it takes to make this shift from owning your own real estate into actually investing into other people's deals. Because it's honestly not about the numbers. It is all about the team and who are you investing with? What are they capable of doing? And not only can you create an immense amount of leverage there, but you need to understand who that team is, okay? Now, since my husband and I have learned how to vet teams, we've been able to scale our portfolio to over 6,500 residential units, 2,200 self-storage units, various other business activities going on. But all this equates to one main goal that you're probably resonating with right now, and that is, how do you get 100% control and choice on how you spend your time? Now, I am a big advocate of investors pursuing the 5 freedoms of life. when you boil down anybody's why, they're trying to achieve one of 5 things, if not multiple of these 5 freedoms. They're trying to get financial freedom, time freedom, choice freedom, freedom of location, and freedom to create impact. Maybe you're pursuing one, maybe you're pursuing multiple of those freedoms, but we can actually help you do that here at passiveinvesting.com. Okay. We have $1.4 billion assets under management. We have amazing returns to our investors, 28.9% ARR to our investors, and made over 51 million in investor distributions. So guys, if you want to learn more about what we do here, check out passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. Now, before we get in deep into how to build the rest of your investing team outside of the operator, just know with anything we talk about here is educational, okay? Nothing that I'm giving you today is financial advice, tax advice, legal advice. I don't even play those professions on television. So make sure you take this information back to your investment team before you make any investing decisions. Again, this is all about empowering you as an investor to not only take charge of your wealth, but feel confident in doing so. All right, so let's talk about these must-have team members, okay? Again, we've touched on the operator, but let's talk about some of these other key players that you must have on your investing team. Now, I love starting with the why, right? Like, why should we even think about the team? Why should we care so much about who is on our team? Because when you have the right players in your team can help you preserve your capital, okay? The number one rule of investing, okay, it's not to make a return, guys. It's to not get knocked out of the game. So our investing buddy here, Warren Buffett, says rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. And really at the end of the day is you do not want to get knocked out of the investing game. It doesn't matter what you invest in, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, real estate, businesses, it doesn't matter. You need to go in with the mindset that I need to know that my investment in my team is protecting me from myself even sometimes. Okay. And that's why it's so important to have a good quality team, because sometimes not only do you need protection from creditors and predators, you need protection from yourself. Okay. So having a great investment team will help you make sound investing decisions with your goals and your needs in mind. Okay. So even when you can't, you might see a deal and you're so excited about it, if you are conferring with your investment team, okay, and you've empowered them to challenge you to make sure that you're investing to your goals and your needs, that's amazing. That's powerful stuff. They can help keep you contained when you can't contain yourself. All right. They can help for making rash decisions as well. Okay. They can also help you make money in multiple ways. This is very important when we come to taxes, because we don't just make money on the buy. We don't just make money through cash flow. We can actually make money through tax savings, okay, and other ways, arbitrage of lending. There's multiple ways that we make money in real estate other than just the cash dollar coming in the door. And they can also help you hedge that risk, okay? Again, helping you look at the investment itself and ask the right questions. All right. Now, who is the first person that you need to have on your team? Okay. Now, the first person I say is you need to have a financial expert. Now, I call this the little double asterisks. I know some of you guys are like amazing. You're always calling me out and you're like, what are all your asterisks for? And it's just a mental note for myself to make a specific comment. Now, the financial expert on the team might not be exactly you going out and finding a fiduciary advisor or a financial advisor. It might mean that you have to become your financial expert, okay? Meaning that maybe this is you, or maybe you hire it out, but I really encourage you to become very empowered and at least fully understand how to analyze your current financial situation, how to set your investment goals, how to develop a plan to reach those goals, and how to monitor your progress and make necessary adjustments. Now, these are things, I'm not a financial advisor, but having been in the space for many years, I share tips, tools, and hacks and my philosophy in the Passive Investing Made Simple boot camps for you to empower you to become your own financial expert. Okay. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't eventually hire somebody to come on your team. But I think most of us would agree that that not all financial experts actually have our goals in mind. Okay. That's why it's super important that you become the expert for yourself before you hire somebody on, because then you're going to be able to sniff that out. Do they have my goals in mind, or do they have their own goals in mind? So some key questions here is, what do you want? Why do you want it? What is your timeline? And what kind of risk are you willing to take on to hit that timeline? Those are the three main questions when it comes to helping you set your goals. Now, again, we do boot camps here periodically where we talk about how to set your goals. We dive really deep into giving you an immense amount of tools so you can uncover those yourself. But those are the key questions to start with. What do you want? Why do you want it? What is your timeline to hit it? And what kind of risk are you willing to take on to hit that timeline? Okay, now the ideal situation is you become proficient in doing this yourself. However, if you do choose to engage in a financial advisor, my suggestion is that you ensure that they are a fee-only fiduciary and fully understand real estate and private placements, okay? Most financial advisors out there have no clue about private placements. They're not licensed to sell them or even evaluate them, okay? Nor do they really fully understand the power of real estate. They have other investments in mind that they want to get you into, okay? Guys, if you don't have a plan for your money, I guarantee somebody else does. All right, so the next expert that we want to bring on our team is the legal expert. Again, this is another kind of required position. Everybody, any passive investor, should have access to a legal expert, okay? This is not an area that I would do away with, okay? And more importantly, probably not an area that I would really skim. Now, I'm not saying go out and spend a bunch of money here, and I'll kind of give you my guidance here, but this is somebody, the legal expert. What they're going to do is they're going to review all those private placement documents to ensure that the investment you're going into is legally sound and that the terms are in your best interest. Now, they're not going to actually, they might redline the document. I will tell you, every lawyer that I've ever sent a PPM, they redline the document and they want to change all these things. But really, somebody who is familiar in the space, that has a background in securities law, what they're going to do is say, you know what? I know this is fair, this isn't fair, right? And this is why, okay? And if you are in a position to negotiate terms, they're going to guide you how. But really what most people are just looking for is like that hour or two of that lawyer's time to initially review a PPM, especially with a new operator. Maybe you just do this once or twice with a new operator that you're bringing on to make sure that the PPM is a sound structure, that you are understanding everything fully. The other thing that that legal expert can do is they can review your personal legal structure and advise on you on how to hold your assets. Okay, now when we have our conversation here around how to fund your investments, do you want to do it jointly or individually, jointly, through your IRA, through a business entity? Really what we're boiling down the conversation to is what kind of asset protection do you need and what kind of asset transfer do you need on the back end, okay? Now, that's not something we can advise you here. So the only person who knows that is you, and your lawyer can help guide you on what the best structure is to invest in, okay? Now, the third thing that a legal expert can do is actually help you settle any disputes, okay? Now, usually there's a structure in the private placement memorandum on how mediation arbitration is going to work, but the lawyer can step in and really help guide you and navigate you through that process should something disastrous happen, okay? Now, the ideal situation is you're partnering with somebody who has a background in securities law and in real estate. I would look for both of those things. Securities law, number one, so they actually know how to read the private placement memorandum. And then two, real estate. Now, somebody like this is going to probably cost around $300 an hour, maybe $400. Now, rates are going up. So, depending on when you're listening to this recording, rates probably have gone up, but that's not unrealistic. Now, again, not a legal expert. Every lawyer would say, I have to read every single PPM, before you can invest in a deal. They may not be financially achievable for you, but I would really, in an ideal world, especially when you're working with a new operator and you're not sure their legal documentation, you don't necessarily have a relationship with them, that would be a really great time to talk to your legal expert. Now, an added bonus, an added key point that I would also point out is I would look for a lawyer, if it were me, that had close ties to a tax group. Okay. Now, maybe they're not an expert in tax law, but the reason why that's important is if again, in an ideal world, if the legal group and the tax group were like dovetailed together, now you're getting cohesive advice from legal and tax at the same time. Okay, you're not having to decipher what the lawyer said, take it to the accountant, and then the accountant tells you something different, and then you take it back to the lawyer, and you're getting this mean game of telephone tag. But again, it's not a requirement. Okay, first two requirements are a securities law background, real estate background, and a bonus would be if they had some sort of ties with a tax group. Okay, but again, don't skip on that. Okay, another area to not skip on is the tax expert. Notice I didn't say CPA. Okay, very different. I'm talking about somebody who can advise you on tax strategy. Not all CPAs can actually do that, nor do they want to do that. Okay, so I would look for an expert, okay, that can review your planned investments for the year, your current holdings, and your K1s as they come in to minimize your taxes. Now, the way they're going to minimize your taxes, they're going to take advantage of legal structures. Okay, again, the reason why it's kind of cool to have them tied in with the legal group, how depreciation is being used, especially accelerated depreciation, and keeping their eye on the ball when 1031 exchanges come into play. Now, they're trying to minimize your taxes to maximize your profit. All right. It's cool if you can find somebody that's proactive about doing that. Here's the thing, most CPAs are reactive. They're looking at what you've done in the past and filling out your 1040 tax documents. Okay, you want to engage with somebody who's going to look at what you've done in the past, but take all that information and what you think you're going to do moving forward for the next year or two and help you strategize that moving forward, again, to minimize your taxes, maximize your profit. Okay, they're also going to help you review your legal structure to ensure you're making good sense, tax-wise, right? Like, not all legal structures, when your lawyer suggests a legal structure, they're looking at it through the lens of asset protection, not necessarily taxation, unless they have close ties to a tax group. Okay, so they're the CPA, or excuse me, the accountant, the tax strategist, they're going to be able to make some suggestions for you. They're not going to be the ones setting up this asset structure, but they'll be able to make some suggestions for you that you can take back to your legal team. Now, another bonus that I really like and appreciate is if it's a tax strategist that has the ability to file your complete return every year. Now, oftentimes, tax strategy and the accountant that's going to actually file your return, they're going to be two different people. That's fine. Okay, believe it or not, you can partner with the tax strategist. They can create the plan, and you take the plan to your CPA, and they just run with the plan and fill out your tax return. But if you can get that all together, a good cost under one roof, why not? Right? There's not going to be anything lost in translation there. Okay, so the ideal situation is look for a firm that's focused on real estate and business. Okay. When you're investing passively into syndications, especially real estate syndications, they need to be reversed on both things, real estate and business, because that's what you've got tied together. Okay. hopefully you're working with somebody that will do a proactive tax strategy, okay? Meaning that you're forward-looking at least a year, if not 2 years or longer. I like looking for people that will do this type of planning with you on a low fee or hourly basis. Okay, I know there's groups out there, and I'm sure they're well with the money for certain people at certain scale that charge thousands of dollars every year. But there's also tax strategists out there that charge, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 for a tax strategy, or maybe an hourly fee. Okay, for however long it takes them to put together the tax strategy. That can be very efficient use of funds as well. Not everybody needs, especially in passive investing, needs a $25,000 tax strategy. All right. And again, bonus if they work really closely with the legal group, because now you've got, again, that nice communication between your tax and legal. All right. The next expert that you need on your team is a retirement expert. Now, this is what I'm specifying here is if you have retirement funds, this would be your self-directed IRA provider. Okay, they're going to be well versed on how to handle these funds. Okay, now they aren't advising you on how to invest. What they are doing is making sure your investments remain compliant to SD-IRA rules. Okay, that's all they're trying to do, is making sure that you don't lose the tax sheltering of those investments within those types of accounts. And one of their functions is they're going to remind you to file the proper tax filings on an annual basis. Now, depending on the provider, they might actually do these tax filings for you, or they'll complete them for a fee. Now, the ideal type of provider or retirement expert you're looking for is somebody who has a positive custodian track record, meaning they are, onboarding investors and they get high marks for how they service their investors, and their trust has been running for quite a long time. Okay, you want somebody with extensive experience in real estate and private placement syndications, right? Not all self-directed IRA providers are well versed in those arenas. I would also look for somebody who has lower fees and then a dedicated team member for your account. Okay, nothing is more frustrating than moving all your funds over to a new self-directed IRA provider, and then you just become a number in the queue. You can't get a hold of anybody because when you go to invest in a deal, you are on a clock to get all that paperwork done and the funds wired over. Okay, you want to be able to get a hold of a person to help you do that. Now, I haven't exhausted the full list of experts that you should probably consider having on your team, but those are, kind of the top 4. There's one other required one that I'm holding back on here until the end. But how are you going to find these experts? Okay, I love finding these type of experts by talking to other investors that are doing similar things that I'm doing. Okay, because then you're not only going to get you're going to get a live accounting on how they're servicing somebody who's doing similar things to you are. You can also, become members of like high net worth investing groups, left field investors, crowd DD. For here in Boulder, we have Boulder Investment Group. Okay, those are another great, way to tap into investor bases and get referrals. You can also ask operators. Now, here's the thing. Some operators, I would like to kind of uncover, like, is the operator getting paid a referral fee for suggesting that name? Okay, so if you ask them for it, like, are they getting, is it a clear disclosure of the relationship between the two groups? Now, for us, we don't do referrals, but if people ask me who I use, I'm happy to share with you personally who I'm using at that point in time, knowing the fact that I get to, change my mind as my needs change. Another way, and this is how I kind of started off before I, discovered other investors that were doing the same thing that I was doing, is listening to high quality podcasts, because these top experts have a really interesting knack for getting on and being sourced to be on these podcasts. So that's another great way to kind of get to get introduced to these type of experts, get to hear about them, before you're spending the time going to vet them fully. You can also go to local meetups, all right? And then my least favorite is actually just doing a web search, okay? Because, the web is an algorithm, you're gonna get served up, whatever, however that person has decided to play the algorithm, okay? And now I know page views count and clicks count, but, I have some other preferred ways that come to mind. Now, what should you consider when you do high level of vetting with these people? Okay, now, first, do your research. Okay, just because somebody gave you a referral doesn't mean they're actually the right fit for you. Okay, on many levels. So make sure you do your research, understand their background, their experience, and more importantly, check their credentials, that they are actually, that they have an active law degree. That they actually are, certified accountant, right? Like make sure, check their credentials. Ask them for referrals on people that they work with, that you can talk to, that are in similar position. Okay, now, granted, any good business owner is going to give you positive referrals to talk to. But when you interview them, ask the question, have they ever, did you have a challenge and how did they help you meet it? Right. Make sure that you're interviewing multiple candidates, not just one. So this means you do have to do a little bit of digging, okay, initially to, get a good list of people to talk to. But I would always try to talk to a minimum 3 people for each position that you're trying to fill on your team. Now, the last one is do a gut test, okay? Are they a good fit for your personality and investing style? Do they get you? Okay, are they going to be somebody that's easy to talk to? Right. So that, again, I think our gut is our first brain. It's our first connection to the outside world, believe it or not. I mean, I come from, anybody that knows me, I come from a health background. So I'm always encouraging people to pay attention to their gut. And I don't know how, I just tried to create a poll. Sorry, guys. Let's see if we can move on here. I don't know how to get this out of my way. Okay, so as you scale your investments, you might consider bringing on additional team members, okay? So additional team members for you to consider are going to be, maybe you need a whole life insurance provider. We just had an amazing conversation last week around, whole life insurance with Paradigm Life. Now that is, that's not a plug for them or anything like that, but, this could be an interesting way for you to build your own personal bank, but that's not something that I would start right out of the gates with, but is that something that you can add to your portfolio as you scale your investments? Maybe you want to add in investing groups, to your team, expand your network and your advisor network. Maybe you need an admin team. I totally know of passive investors that have 50, 60, 70 deals under their belt that are going simultaneously. Do they need help? If you're one of those investors, do you need help reviewing all the markets, operators, and deals that are out there? Do you need help maintaining bookkeeping? Okay, keeping track of the income that is, making sure all your distributions are happening, organizing the communications and the like. Okay, but those kind of come later. Now, the last spot on your team, and I shouldn't say the last spot, this is actually the second spot. The first spot should be the financial advisor, but the last one we're going to cover today, which is actually the second spot on your team, is making sure that you have an operational expert on the team. Now, like the financial expert, it could be you if you're doing this actively, but if it's not you and you're doing this passively, you are taking bets on other people. So you got to get really good at looking for operators that know the strategy of the type of asset you want to go into. And they have the expertise and the track record to execute. They have the ability to secure credit and lending, okay, that they're actually qualified and have the net worth to take these type of assets down. they can reliably pull capital in order to close the deal on time, and that they actually have a professional team in place and network to help you maintain the deals. So again, you can get that freedom of your time. All right, guys, this is your invitation. If you haven't done so already, make sure to join me at passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. Again, that's the only place on our passiveinvesting.com website that you can get free one-on-one call access to me. You can get access to my schedule. You can get access to the Passive Investing Made Simple ebook, as well as the masterclass and boot camps and priority access to our deals.